तो बहुत ही मुबारक हो पहले इस प्रोग्राम में जो रियली एक ऐसा एंटरप्रेन्योर जिसने हिंदुस्तान से अपना सफर तय किया, जिसने एक छोटे से गांव से अपना सफर तय किया और उस सफर को तय करता हुआ एक ऐसी बुलंदी पर पहुंचा जहां पे लोग पहुंचने की तमन्ना करते हैं। यकीनन एक ऐसा शख्स जिसने उस मकाम पर पहुंचने के बाद वहीं ठहर नहीं गया, बल्कि फिर दुनिया को बताया कि अब तुम्हें हमें वहां पे लाने की कोशिश करना है, और अब वो उस कोशिश में लगा हुआ है। कहते हैं कि औकाबी रूह जब बेदार होती है जवानों में, नजर आती है उनको अपनी मंजिल आसमानों में। नहो नौमीदी ज़वाले इल्म और इरफान है, उम्मीदें मर्द मोमिन है खुदा के राजदानों में। नहीं तेरा नशेमन कसर सुल्तानी के गुंबद पर, तू शाही है बसेरा कर पहाड़ों की जगह। तो एक ऐसा शाही जो आपके पास मौजूद है, मैं इस्तकबाल करता हूं, मैं खैर मकदम करता हूं जनाब डॉक्टर फ्रैंक इस्लाम साहब का आज के इस ऑल इंडिया माइनॉरिटीज बिजनेस समिट में। जनाब फ्रैंक इस्लाम साहब।
So thank you very much, Danish, for your wonderful introduction. As you know that he's also from Azamgarh, and I am from Azamgarh as well. I am also an Alligerian. And the purpose of my trip here to India, my wife is not here, Debbie, to inaugurate the Frank and Debbie Islam complex, which is the auditorium at the School of Journalism, Aligarh Muslim University. Unfortunately, because of the unrest, the governor told me that he cannot protect me, my safety, so I was not able to go. But I also inaugurated health clinic, Frank and Debbie Islam Health Clinic, at the village that I was born in Kauragani in Azamgarh. Anybody from Azamgarh? Oh, yes. I'm also Alligerian. And I love Aligarh Muslim University. That's the reason I gave $2.75 million to Aligarh Muslim University. So distinguished guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen, as an entrepreneur who's a minority, it is truly a pleasure for me to be here with you, other entrepreneur and guests, at this All India Minority Business Summit and Award Ceremony. So is Mr. Azmi is here, Abu Asim Azmi. He said he was supposed to be there. He's also from Azamgarh, and I take a lot of pride in him as well. And thank you, Danish Riaz, for inviting me to speak on this special occasion. And thank you, Danish, for your leadership and your vision. You provide the example and set the standard. You are a difference maker. You're carrying the torch to light the way. So when Dennis extended this, let's give him a big round of applause. Where's Dennis? I guess he's gone with the wind. He disappeared. So when Dennis extended the invitation, I accepted it without hesitation. I did so for three reasons. The focus that Maheshad brings on the needs of the minority and other marginalized communities here in India is a critical one. The minorities entrepreneur plays an important and significant role in the development of India. They play a pivotal role in shaping the future of India. And they must be equal partner in India's shared prosperity. India cannot succeed unless the Muslims are given an opportunity to have a good education, an entrepreneur, and inclusive economic mobility. Number two, they have the capacity and capability to change the landscape of India and the world. The fact that this summit addresses minority businessmen, that I would be here with kindred spirits who have grappled with discriminations and hostility and prejudice of all types and have nonetheless made this their journey successfully. The award at this ceremony are recognition for those who do distinctive work but are too often unrecognized and invisible. So those are my primary reasons for being here. Before I get to my formal remarks, let me state that to those award honorees, this day is your day. Let me extend my congratulations to those of you receiving the awards here this evening. You are doing God's work. You are doing people's work. For those of you minority entrepreneurs who are not receiving the award today, this day is your day also. I'm certain you'll be recognized at this summit at some future days. For those in the audience who are contemplating becoming an entrepreneur, I say, join us in this journey. We need you, your fellow minorities need you, and India needs you. Indeed, what is needed for the future of India and the world is entrepreneurial leadership and civic engagement. That is the title that I have given for my remarks. I'll present my remarks in 5 parts. Part 1 will be the entrepreneur and entrepreneurship. Part 2 will be the entrepreneur journey. And the part 3 will be entrepreneurial leadership. And the part 4 will be civic engagement. And there were some panel discussions on that. And the part 5 will be focused on the empowerment of minorities. Let me begin the climb to the summit with part 1. So what is an entrepreneur and who is an entrepreneur? The various definition, the one that appeals the most to me is the entrepreneur is a person who organizes and manages in any enterprise, especially a business, usually with a considerable initiative and risk. I like that definition because it emphasizes any enterprise and extends the definition beyond just a business owner. A person can be entrepreneur in any type of organization as long as he or she is willing to step up to the plate and take a leadership role to shape the direction of the enterprise or the portion which he or she controls. The awards for this summit recognize this fact. There are a broad range of nomination categories. To name just a few, the categories include gems and jewelry, medical and healthcare, management, college institution, builders and developers, and scientific technology. That is testimony to the fact that entrepreneurship comes from in all shapes and sizes. In that regard, let me share a definition of the entrepreneurship that was provided by Professor Howard Stevenson from the Harvard Business School almost 40 years ago. Professor Stevenson said, and I quote, "Entrepreneurship is the pursuit of opportunity without regard to resource currently controlled." In other words, entrepreneurs are not constrained in their thinking. Let me combine these two definitions into my own definition of an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are dreamers who dare. They're seekers who seize the moment and take calculated risks to create the enterprise and the jobs of the future. That is what and who those of you in this audience are. You are entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, you understand that becoming an entrepreneur is a journey. You have taken and are still on your journey. Let me talk about the part 2 of the entrepreneur journey. There may be similarity in your journey, but each journey is different. In part 2 of my presentation, let me tell you a little bit about my personal journey. It consisted of 6 phases: getting a good education, doing my apprenticeship, becoming an entrepreneur, building a strong and talented management team who shared my vision and values, staying the course, and broadening my horizon. I went to the United States from India at a very young age, at the age of 16. I got my bachelor's and master's degree in computer science at the University of Colorado that gave me the knowledge that I needed to go into business. When I graduated with my advanced degree, I was not prepared to go directly to owning a business. That's because I did not know how business operated. I had no real exposure to business prior to starting college. I knew I needed the experience, so I worked with the 2 major information technology firms in the Washington, D.C. area for about a decade to learn the ropes and the ins and outs of doing business with the government. That gave me the skills and real-world grounding that I needed to start my own business. After doing my apprenticeship in 1994, I mortgaged my house. My wife was not very happy. And I purchased a company called QSS Group Incorporated for $45,000. Within 13 years, along with my key management team, we took that from a workforce of 1 employee, that's me, to more than 3,000 employees, to more than $300 million in revenue. That was an excellent trajectory for the business, and I had a role to play in that success. But when people ask me how I became successful, I respond that it was not me, but we who made it happen. My team of talented senior managers was central to everything. Success in business is a team sport. Before I close this section of my talk, I must talk about passion and persistence. Those are the ingredients of staying the course. They were essential because my journey was not a straight line. It was not always easy, and the final destination was not certain. During the early years, there were several issues to be dealt with, such as, will we win the contract? Will I get the bank loan? Bank loan, will I be able to make a payroll? There were some 24-hour days and many sleepless nights. For the first several years I was in business, I worked 7 days a week. What enabled me to prevail on the journey was a belief in myself and those around me, and the opportunity presented by the American dream. Success taught me to move forward. As importantly, failure taught me to never go backward. So the failure is the first step to success. In 2007, I sold my company for several $100 million to Pro Systems Corporation. That sale allowed me to establish a private foundation that supports educational, culture, and artistic causes in the United States, here in India, and the world. That was my journey. And now I'm a new phase of my journey, which is the philanthropic engagement. And I can tell you in all honesty and humility, that is the most personally rewarding to me and to my life. My story can only happen in America. It's America's inclusiveness and openness that provided me the letters of opportunity to succeed. These are the strengths and the values and the qualities of America that all of us can proudly and truly embrace. And that is what we need in India, an inclusive society, a diverse society, a society that can provide the opportunities to all of you to succeed. As I made my journey, I always tried to do the right thing. An old American saying is that managers do things right and leaders do the right things. That is an important distinction that I will emphasize in the next part of my talk as I briefly address the concept of entrepreneurial leadership. Entrepreneurship leadership is doing the right thing in all facets of one's life. The entrepreneurial leader is a person who recognizes that becoming an entrepreneurial leader is a journey and invests the time to make the journey in a meaningful and thoughtful manner without taking shortcuts along the way. I firmly believe leader is a person who recognizes that leaders are made, not born. So my wife Debbie and I recognize the pivotal importance of the entrepreneurial leadership for the future of India. That is why we funded the development of the Frank and Debbie Islam Management Complex at Aligarh Muslim University. And I love AMU. And I want to recognize my brother and his wife, Dr. Islam, who traveled with me from the state of Texas, who's also a Aligarhian. And Dr. Abdullah, who was my teacher at Aligarh Muslim University. Thank you for joining us, for both of you. And thank you, Tawqeef, for being here. I forgot to say that in my introduction. At the dedication of the complex, I stated, our overriding motivation in supporting the management complex is because of the emphasis it will place on preparing the students at Aligarh Muslim University to become entrepreneurial leaders who will engage in activity that will create jobs, build prosperity, and opportunities for thousands of people throughout India and other parts of the world. As I look around in this room at those of you in this audience, even though most of you did not attend Aligarh Muslim University, but I did. And I'm deeply grateful to Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, who established Anglo-Mohammedan Oriental College in 1872. And Aligarh Muslim University was established in 1927. I would say that what's best in me, I owe it to Aligarh Muslim University. Aligarh shaped India, and India shaped Aligarh. Its principles have always guided me throughout my life, whether the time is calm or the crisis. Those have been my guiding light throughout my adult life because of my associations and my education at Aligarh Muslim University. Aligarh Muslim University must maintain the minority character of this nation because it is a shining city upon a hill, and all the eyes are upon Aligarh Muslim University today. So, because of the characteristics cited as some of the criteria for the awards at this summit include generate employment, work for the country as well as community welfare, follow the rules and regulations made by the government of India, economic and social equity, tolerance, justice, and human rights. Those characteristics are absolutely about doing the right things. They are about being an entrepreneurial leader and about civically engaged. This brings me to the part 4 of my remarks. Entrepreneurial leadership is an aspect of civic engagement. Increased civic engagement is essential from all of us who are concerned about the future of India and the world. The best definition of civic engagement that I have seen comes from a collection of readings titled Civic Responsibility and Higher Education. That definition states civic engagement meant working to make a difference in the civic life of our communities and developing the combination of knowledge, skills, abilities, values, and motivation to make that difference. It means promoting the quality of life in a community through both political and non-political processes. So civic engagement takes 5 primary forms. Individual, being the best one can be and personally responsible for one's actions. Organizational, contributing to the success of the group. And political, participating in those processes that shape the structure and the nature of the government. Community, collaborating to make the world in which we live a better place. Social, advocating for justice and equality of treatment and opportunity for all. When I began my education, started my business, and took other steps in my journey, I did not really think about them as a form of civic engagement. In looking back now, I understand that they definitely were, and that we all here on this earth for a higher purpose. We all are God's children. We are a reflection of God on this earth. In this last part of my presentation, I want to talk about that purpose. I myself involved in numerous charitable, as I prefer to call them, not a charity, but investment, here in India and the United States and other parts of the world around the globe. The need is great, and it does not matter where and how we get civically engaged. What matters is that what we do so. I know that you Summit Award winners and others tonight are already engaged. I know that I'm preaching to the choir. But as I conclude my remarks, I'd like to make one request to all of you. That request to ask you to join me in committing to do even more by intensifying your focus on the empowerment of minorities. That empowerment can come in a number of ways, but I think the key ingredients, what I call the 3 E's. Those E's are education, employment, and elevation. Education and employment are easily understandable, but let me elaborate on the concept of elevation. Elevation is enabling the minority individual who has been educated and who is employed to raise their sights to realize that anything is possible, and you have the capacity to make impossible as a possible. No hope should be high enough for you to achieve, and no dream should be large enough for you to achieve. As those of you minority business leaders here tonight know the journey of 1,000 miles begin with a single step. I know that, you know that, you all have demonstrated the capacity to make a difference. You are the difference makers. That is why I ask you to continue to provide those minorities in need with a hand up, not just a handout. Help empower them through the 3 E's: education, employment, and elevation. Professor Clayton Christensen of Harvard Business School has stated, I have concluded that the metric by which God would assess my life is not money, but the individual people whose lives I have touched. He tells his MBA students, do not worry about the individual prominence you have achieved. Worry about how many individuals you have helped to make better people. I think the Professor Christensen has hit the nail right on the head. Picking up on his advice, I say, do well, but do good. Do well in your business so that you can do good for other minorities and for India. Invest in other minorities by sharing and giving back. Make your success India's success. When the minorities succeed, all of us succeed, India succeed, and the world succeed. India cannot succeed when minorities are held back. Let me also add on the role of the media, because this is sponsored by the Maheshwar, who is into the media. The media needs to be a leader in building the framework for communal harmony and community development. This means that media must be a proactive participant in documenting the success and the failures of the minority business enterprises. I want to talk to you a little bit about when you are successful, extend your hand, your hope, your heart, and your help, to those who are socially and economically disadvantaged, to those who are poor, to those who are underprivileged, to those who are voiceless, and to those who are vulnerable. And their success is our success. I also want to say a few words about interfaith dialogue. I'm a strong advocate of interfaith dialogue because it brings the people together, because it builds the bridges, not build the wall. And this is how we can build a stronger, fairer, just, tolerant India. And this is how we can shape a better future for India and the world. So I wish you continued success in your venture on your journey. It has been a privilege, and I'm delighted to be here speaking with you. I wish you the best. God bless you all. God bless India, and God bless America, because I am an American. Since you do not have any questions, so I'm going to step out of the podium and sit and enjoy myself. And I will wait for Dennis to come in and take the next step, whatever is needed to do.